G7 host Italy, on the front line of Europe's migration crisis, had been keen for the world's wealthiest nations to help Africa develop its economy in an effort to persuade young Africans to stay at home and not risk it all to come to Europe.
It's not going to be a philanthropic type of relationship. There is a lot South Africa can offer. Huge natural resources, young people. This is a continent that's going to push world growth in the 21st century. This is Africa's century.
Capacity building in Africa was one of the few success stories of this summit. Friday saw leaders throw their support and solidarity behind the UK in the aftermath of the devastating attacks in Manchester. G7 leaders agreeing to press technology companies and social media sites to do more to identify and remove terror propaganda. Leaders also struggled to find common ground on global trade and sanctions on Russia, and migration became but a footnote, angering some aid agencies.
Well, I think on the last day of the summit, we've got to the real scandal. G7 leaders come right here to Sicily, on the doorstep of the Mediterranean Sea, where 1,400 people have drowned just this year, and fly home tonight without having come up with any credible plan to end this vast human tragedy. That's the real scandal of this summit.
It's not that we disagreed on migration, but it's an issue that won't be solved through a G7 communiqué. It will be solved by a real policy of security. We need stability of the states. This is the first way to fight the migration crisis. Then secondly comes the fight for the climate and development.
But on climate change, there was a lack of consensus. 6 of the 7 G7 nations reaffirmed their commitment to the 2015 Paris Agreement, but the United States had been given more time to decide on its stance, frustrating summit leaders.
The entire discussion about climate was very difficult, if not to say very dissatisfying. So far, there are no indications whether the United States will stay in the Paris Agreement or not.
The US President Donald Trump, speaking just before he left Italy at a US naval airbase, said that great progress had been made at the G7, that he had shared his economic goals, his thoughts on migration, and that together, through better cooperation, leaders could create a better world for generations to come. So for Donald Trump, it was a job well done. Mariam, Zaidi, CGTN, Taormina.